How's it going, guys? Welcome back to the channel. So, we've had both Ireland and France now release their teams for the upcoming game this weekend. And I've had a bit of time to sit on my thoughts and go through a little bit of a review. So, before we get cracking on the final Ireland versus France match preview before the game, I would just like to ask, please like and subscribe, as it really does help my channel grow. And I just want to be providing you guys with the best content possible. So, yeah, without further ado, let's get into it. Now, this is quite possibly the biggest, well, this is going to be the decider as to how the Six Nations is going to turn out, whether it's going to open up or whether it's going to close down. Ireland is going to just shut everything off and eventually end up getting a grand slam. So this match can go one of two ways because both teams are crazy good when it comes down to their attacking ability. They are both brilliant in terms of their defensive structures as well. But who is gonna win? Who's gonna come out? And I truly do feel that this is gonna be the battle of the nines. DuPont and Jameson Gibson Park, right? Who's gonna come out on top? Who can control their team better? And honestly, it's it's up in the air because anybody, anybody could come out and just absolutely take the game, you know, by the cojones and just run with it. So we could see a France team that comes in and they absolutely destroy France because they are so fluid. They attack with such pace and aggression. If Ireland are not ready for it, we could potentially see an Ireland squad going 10, 15 points down within the first 10 minutes. Or we know better. We know just how strong Ireland are. We know the likes of Dan Sheehan, Andrew Porter, Baird, Van der Fleer. These guys are all monsters and they are absolute workhorses. So, are we going to see defensive structures being broken down? Probably not, right? It's going to be a very, very tight game, and we're going to see a lot of work coming from your back rows, from the likes of your Aldrit, Budahan, your Kalen Doris, Van der Fleer, Peter Mani, and trust Peter Mani to just absolutely kill. When it's needed, he comes into some of the best form of his life. And it's kind of a way just to show everybody just how talented he really is, especially coming up to the end of, his career as he is retiring at the end of the Six Nations. It's just that kind of little oomph to say, I'm not done and I could continue if I wanted, you know. And look at the form that he's playing. I don't for one second believe that Easterby is playing him just out of the sheer fact that he's retiring. Peter Marnie deserves a spot on that field. He's playing well enough and he's earned his place there as well. So we are going to see the absolute war god in full flow. And he is going to make himself such an annoying presence to everybody. Literally everybody is going to get it today. Well, get it on Sunday. Nobody's going to be out of sight for him. He is going to fight and fight and fight. And honestly, if he is able to pull that off, if Kalen Doris is able to control his team the way I believe he will, if Van der Fleer is able to have his way and continue with his crazy ball carrying ability, we could see a very, very strong Ireland squad here, right? We saw the likes of Wales put some serious, serious pressure on Ireland, and they actually went down at some point and put just a little bit of worry into Ireland's eyes. But the one thing I always say, winners always find a way to win, no matter what kind of game you're having. You always find a way to win. And what did happen? And what happened? They found a way to win. You look at when Bandiaki came on, the guy just turned things around. You know, he practically brought a gun to a knife fight and just said, "Screw everybody. I'm gonna rock this show." Or we get the pleasure of seeing Bandiaki start. We get the pleasure of seeing Robbie Henshaw start. Jamie Osborne is going to be playing at 14. and makes you think, what about Calvin Nash, right? Why isn't Calvin Nash getting that shot? Because every time Calvin Nash has come on, he's played pretty well. But Jamie Osborne comes in. The only reason I can think about Jamie Osborne is versatility. He can play in a couple different positions that, Calvin Nash can't. He's a little bit more effective in multiple different positions. So if for whatever reason some of these players were to get injured or were to go off, you have the likes of Jamie Osborne that can fill in a couple different spots, right? So it's gonna be it's gonna be interesting. But at the same time, if Jamie Osborne is to get injured, who's gonna take that spot? It's definitely not gonna be Bundyaki. Maybe Henshaw, but it's a difficult one because of the setup that they are playing. Obviously, if let's say Prendergast is to get injured or needs to come off, they have Crowley. If Jameson Gibson Park needs to come off, they've got Conan. You know, I don't know who they might replace with some of the forwards, as in your Bielam, your Kelleher, your Porter, but Ireland are still a very, very stacked squad, right? And I think if they play their game and obviously they keep off the injury list, we could see an absolutely, absolutely smashing game. Personally, thinking about the actual points, I think this is going to be such a hotly contested game. I think they're going to be so good that they're actually going to end up canceling each other out. We are going to see amazing defending from both sides. We are going to be seeing high phase play from France. We're going to see a lot of breakup play from Ireland, right? Ireland are going, and we can almost guarantee it, they are going to frustrate France. They're going to put so much pressure on them to make them force errors. And that they're going to be fighting for that ball. I would not be surprised to see lineouts go through and then mauls to gain possession. So I think they are going to play a very, very smart game. Honestly, I don't think they're going to play a full kicking game. You do have the likes of James Lowe that has an absolute wonder boot on him, right? You have players like Hugo Keenan, you have players like Sam Prendergast, but I think they're going to want to bring the game to France. They are going to want to put their bloody best foot forward and really make sure that they understand who they are playing, right? Because if you do not set that dominance early with France and let them get into their phase play, allow Dupont to start dictating play, you are in for a very, very long night, because Dupont is one of the masters when it comes to, when it comes down to playing that ball. And he does not get phased very easily. He is one of the coolest cucumbers on the pitch. The guy is an absolute phenomenon. So it's going to be very difficult to see how Ireland are going to work that. And the only thing I can see is Van der Fleer is going to be on him, and he's going to make himself such a nuisance to him that he's not going to want to get up, right? The moment you let France play their game, allow them to open up space, allow them to start dictating on the wings, is the moment that you are going to run into issues. We saw Ollie Slytholm and Tommy Freeman really, really cause France issues on those wings, especially with the likes of BLBRA and Damien Penaud, who they pretty much isolated Damien Penaud. It's very difficult to isolate BLBRA, but what they did was they brought him into traffic instead of allowing him space, putting in pressure. And it's going to be hard to see how this game is going to play out, because it can go both ways. Both teams are such big forces that either of them could take, like I said, could take this game and run. But I think France are going to, I think they are going to try and go so physical and then wear Ireland down as much as possible. because we've seen the 7-1 split again. And when you have a player like Meafou on the bench, when you have players like Cyril Baye on the bench, Julian Marchand on the bench, these are players that are going to come on and they're going to run you out. Honestly, I think they are going to try to isolate Sam Prendergast because he's not the biggest of guys. Yeah, I'd say biggest. He's like 6'3", 6'4", and comparing to a normal human being, the guy is a giant. But in terms of rugby players, he's got a thinner frame. So when you compare him to a player like Meafou, it's night and day. He is a small guy, and he doesn't like getting. Well, I say he's not very good defensively, but he does not mind getting a hit. All right, so I think France are going to try and isolate Prendergast. They're going to put so much pressure on him to kind of break him down. But ultimately, if Prendergast is not having the best of games, you do have the likes of Jack Crowley who can come on and, be that change that is needed and completely change the game around. So both sides are I would say they're so equally matched in terms of offense. It's going to come down to the defense and who is more composed. Composure is going to be the key in this game because I cannot see France providing penalties and Prendergast not taking it. Every second that there's going to be a point on display, they are going to take it because we know France are going to take it, especially when you have a boot like Ramos there and ready, right? So both teams are going to provide such a spectacle because they are so equally balanced and they have such good attacking threats as well as defensive walls. It's going to be a game of chess as to who's going to come out on top. And personally, I do feel Ireland are going to come out on top by a try, maybe a penalty. But I have Ireland to take this in the last minutes of the game. Again, that is just my thoughts. There's so much, so much. I mean, we have the likes of Intermac coming back, who is a godsend when it comes to Dupont, but they could have played Ramos there. We saw how well Ramos played there, so it's nothing too big. I mean, what they move Ramos into 10, and who do they bring on? Leo Barret, who got 2 tries, on his first game in the Six Nations. You you know it's like there's craziness that France have available, and obviously they aren't necessarily playing that, but you have the likes of Luku you know to be able to bring on. But I think they are very much going to go forward centric. They are going to go Springbok style, bomb squad. Come 65th minute, we are going to see 6, 7 forwards come on at the same bloody time and just absolutely rock the show. But again, that comes with its own risks. What happens if the likes of Biel Biere, Damien Penaud, Thomas Ramos, Mofana, Barassi, what happens if any of them get injured? How many players do you genuinely have that can play multiple positions and effectively? Right? And even then, there aren't that many players that can truly play a different position effectively. So that means you are now weakening your squad to bring on someone else. So it's a risk that might pay off in the end because we've seen how effective it has been for the Springboks if used correctly. But I want to know what you guys think in relation to this. Do you think the 7-1 split is good for them? Do you think it's going to work? What happens if someone gets injured? What's your predictions for the game? I have Ireland to just pip France to it and then end up winning the Grand Slam because if they've gone through all of the elite tests. They've gone through Scotland, they've gone through England, they would have gone through France. And they've gone through Wales. Like seriously. That would be ultimate Grand Slam legends retire on the highest note they possibly can with a crazy Six Nations win, and just play it out and wait for the next games. So it's going to be interesting. I'm intrigued to see who's gonna come out on top, but I want to have your guys' thoughts, and I want to know, where do you think this game is going to be won and lost? So comment section below, and please like and subscribe. It really does help my channel grow, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Bye.